Hi, this is Tanya Becker, and I'm your host for today's episode of PartsVu Xchange Talks Boating. If you haven't already, please subscribe to PartsVu's YouTube channel. Also, if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on any of our podcast episodes, subscribe to PartsVu Xchange Talks Boating wherever you get your podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music. This conversation promises to be a fascinating one. Captain Leiza Fitzgerald is the CCA Florida Star Competition Director. She's not only the director of the Star Competition, but she also created the format for Florida Star. I'll back up for just one moment to provide our listeners with just a little bit of an overview. The CCA, or Coastal Conservation Association, was created in 1977 after drastic commercial overfishing along the Texas coast decimated redfish and speckled trout populations. While the CCA started with just 14 concerned folks coming together, today the CCA is a national organization with more than 125,000 members, and they currently have active chapters in 17 states. The Florida Star Competition combines technology and the love of fishing with the excitement of winning cash, prizes, and scholarships, while also gathering critically important catch data.
Thanks so much for being here today, Leiza.
Well, thank you, Tanya, for having me. And I'm so excited to share with your listeners a little bit about our organization and what we're accomplishing and how we partnered together.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know the CCA Florida Star Competition is very well known and really beloved by CCA members, but it took me a second to wrap my head around it, honestly. The fishing tournaments most people are familiar with occur over a day or a weekend, and anglers go out during the tournament and during the tournament hours and weigh in at the end of the day and so forth. This isn't how this Florida Star Competition works. What are the dates of the 2022 Star Competition, the various divisions within the competition, and how does it all work?
Well, I try to explain to people it sounds complicated, but really it's not, because the competition is over 100 days of fishing. It begins the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, that's May 28th, and it runs through Labor Day, September the 5th this year. Over 100 days of fishing. There are 17 divisions. And actually, every fish you catch over the summer in Florida waters has the opportunity to provide you with a chance to win your share of $500,000 in prizes. We have some really cool divisions. Our signature divisions are the West Marine tagged redfish, which is a division where we tag redfish throughout the coastal waters of Florida, on average 4 per coastal county. I'll give you a little hint here, Tanya. If you fish Brevard County, Citrus County, or Charlotte County, they are our destination counties, and they have 8 tagged redfish. If you recapture one of those tagged redfish, you have the opportunity to win either your choice of a brand new Contender, Pathfinder, or Spider boat. All of these boats are valued at over $60,000, but you must be a CCA member and registered in the competition to win. So it's pretty simple. The other signature division is the Tigress Tagged Dolphin, and that's for the offshore anglers. So if you're offshore, you catch a dolphin that has a tag in it, and you're the first angler to do so, who is a CCA member as well, will win their $10,000 cash, or if they're a youth, they will win a $10,000 college scholarships. But we have inshore and offshore divisions: snook, trout, redfish, dolphin, grouper, mahi. We have something for everyone. There's a power pole conservation division, which it doesn't matter the size of the fish or the species of fish, because that division is a tool we use to gather dependent data for other organizations to use in their conservation programs. We also have something for non-anglers, which for me, this is honestly my favorite division. It is the Coast to Kick Plastic Trash Division. It is a initiative that we started about 4 years ago, asking anglers and non-anglers alike, when you were enjoying our coastal waterways, please pick up the garbage you see while you're out there. You can submit every 5-gallon bucket of garbage. We do all of our submissions and entries through the Star Florida Tournament app. You submit the picture, and at the end of the competition, we do a random drawing and we give away fantastic prizes from Costa Sunglasses. Our presenting sponsor for that division has a weekend stay in the Florida Keys with yummy Papa's Pilar rum. There's just so many cool ways to win, but it's not just about winning for our anglers. The real true winner of this competition is our marine resources in Florida.
That's awesome. Thanks for that description, Leiza. And I am a CCA member now, and I am coming to Florida next week. So I appreciate the tips in terms of where the extra tagged fish, redfish are. So,
well, I can tell you, you can't start entering your fish and your pictures. Till May.
Darn it. Well, I'll be down there in May, I'll be down there. Yeah, regularly. So,
well, come on down. Any fish you catch, you can enter.
It is only February. Criminy. So, competition participants, as you said, win money, prizes, scholarships, which is always exciting for anyone. But the competition is a key data collection effort for conservation efforts. How does this data captured, through the competition work to contribute to the work that you all are dedicated to?
That is really a great question. And I'm so proud of this because 7 years ago, when I was asked to come on board with the Coastal Conservation Association, they asked me to implement the STAR competition, which runs in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina. And they are the traditional tournament where you bring in a fish to a weigh-in, and generally that fish is dead. Well, I wanted something that was in keeping with our mission, which is conservation, keeping fish alive. And data collection is critical, knowing so when you enter your information about your fish, your catch entry, there are a lot of drop downs that you have to enter. And it will ask you the size of your fish, the health of your fish, where this fish was caught, where you hooked the fish, did you release the fish or keep it, and what was the condition of the catch when you released it. This is amazing data for FWC. For many universities have used this information over the last 7 years to do white papers and research on redfish and juvenile trout. So it really has been a tremendous tool, and not only for your fish entries, but also in the trash division. It will ask you what sort of trash is in your bucket. Is it plastic bags? Is it glass? Is it fishing line? There's little checks that you can make so that we know the areas where this garbage is being collected from. And if there are big pieces of garbage that you as an individual can't pick up, we ask that you give us the GPS coordinates, and we work with another organization and we get out there and we get those big pieces like washing machines and refrigerators, toilets, big pieces of trash that an individual can't gather, we pick up.
That is so cool. We've talked a good amount about this trash division, which I think is it's just clever. It's wonderful for conservation efforts, just for environmental efforts as a whole. And it's kind of, I've never heard of this before. We got to know each other. How have your members responded to this trash division?
Well, I can tell you that I get goosebumps when I talk about it because, there are lots of other organizations that are doing beach cleanups and other types of cleanups. And we work with OceanAid 360 to do derelict crab trap and other cleanups of the waterways. But this has been an amazing tool for parents to provide a conservation message to their kids. I have seen youth tell their mom and dad, now that we've got our fish, let's go get trash. And, and can we go today and just do trash collection? I don't care about fishing, but I want to do the trash collection. And I've watched youth get their friends and families together, and they spend during the competition every Saturday morning, they choose a different shoreline or a different area, and 6 to 8, 10 kids will go out and they'll clean up 20, 30 big black garbage bags full of trash that they have removed. So I can tell you that it has been so well received. We, in the 4 years that we've had this competition ongoing, we've collected over 7,000 5-gallon buckets full of garbage. We've had 2 amazing participants that each have gathered last year over 1,000 5-gallon buckets on their own. It's just been an amazing opportunity. And the other cool thing about this, which I implemented 2 years ago with these trash buckets, is every youth angler gets 30 minutes of community service hours for each 5-gallon bucket of garbage that they pick up and dispose of properly. With COVID taking place, many of the events that these youth would go to get their community service hours. And just so you know, in Florida, our Bright Futures requires a high school graduate to have a minimum of 100 community service hours in order for them to qualify for the Bright Futures scholarships that our state offers. So we have given them away on their own time, but with accountability, because they do have to take a picture, then we can give them their community service hours.
That is wonderful. And I've seen pictures online of these people, including many kids, with this massive stack of buckets stacked up, and it's really cool.
It is. It's so much fun, and the cool thing is that they do get rewards for it. So, we've done some great things with this, and giving them the community service hours to get scholarships. They also are working within STAR to earn scholarships as well.
Good. What impact do you think the STAR competition has had, both in terms of more immediate kind of conservation impact? And engaging, maybe this is a longer term outcome, engaging both adults and kids in conservation efforts?
Well, when we started STAR, we had about 500 youth anglers participating in the competition. We didn't have a huge amount of people participating, and we've grown over the years. We're up over 7,500 anglers that fish with us. But I really think where we have made a tremendous impact for the conservation effort is with parents and youth. Kids can win $100,000 in college scholarships, 2 $25,000 scholarships, and 10 $5,000 scholarships. And parents are taking the initiative to get their kids out of the house after school or on a weekend, because they know they're going to teach them that conservation initiative. Let's catch this fish, take a picture of it, and release it, enter it in the competition, and then that youth has the opportunity to win scholarships. When we award those scholarships, we awarded one from Real Tree Fishing, and the family was just elated because they weren't certain how they were going to afford to send their child to college. Well, now they have a $25,000 scholarship, which covers tuition, books, on-site, on-campus housing. So I really think that, it's a really cool way for us to engage more and more individuals. And I honestly think it's a super way to engage sponsors and partners in understanding the importance of conservation, and rewarding people for releasing their fish. We're not opposed to anglers keeping their fish, but in order to win a competition, it's just not something I think that we need to be encouraging. I think we should be encouraging people to release these fish based on the condition of our waterways and our habitat. Mother Nature really needs our help in these larger fish being released, because those larger fish are spawning fish.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I think it's a really great conversation to have with kids. I remember growing up fishing with my dad, just ongoing conversations as we were out there of, this guy is a little small. Let's just put him back and let him grow up a little bit. Or, we're not really going to be eating fish for dinner tonight, so we're going to put him back. Or sometimes, well, we'd like to have fish for dinner tonight. This is a good size. We're going to keep this one. And I think those conversations are really great for helping the kids understand just kind of the ethics of taking care of taking care of, the critters out there, including fish.
And I would agree with you. In almost every species, as the fish gets larger, it becomes a spawning species. Mm-hmm. It becomes a spawning fish. And so what I suggest to more, and that's why there are slot sizes, like with a redfish, it's 18 to 27 inches. Well, in a tournament, the majority of the fish that are brought in are that 25 to 27 inch fish. And when they're reaching those sizes, they're mature spawning fish. So if we're releasing those big fish and only potentially keeping those smaller fish, first of all, they're much better eating. And second of all, we're giving those big mature breeding fish the opportunity to spawn, because when we take a big fish, it's just not one fish. It's hundreds of thousands of fish that would have had the potential to be spawned.
Yeah. You mentioned briefly how excited, some of the leading companies in the marine industry are to sponsor the Star Tournament. Why do you think that there's so much excitement amongst the sponsor community?
First of all, I think being able to partner with a competition that is responsible for education and good stewardship of our environment is critical. And many very large corporations in the industry, like West Marine, like Contender Boats, Pathfinder, Real Tree Fishing, Papas Pilar, PowerPole, all of these organizations, and I've missed so many, but some of the larger organizations all understand that it is their corporate responsibility to take care of our fisheries, because that's how they survive, by having people who fish purchasing their product. And if people can't fish anymore, why do they have the need for their product?
They don't have a business.
So it really is self-preservation in a way. But I honestly believe, we really care about our partners. And from that, offering $700,000 in college scholarships to date to kids and getting them engaged, that's the wave. That's the future of fishing. And the fact that we're putting all of this habitat work back into our coastal waters of Florida, together with our partners, it's nearly $5.6 million. That's oyster bed renourishment, clam establishment, shoreline stabilization, offshore, nearshore reefs. There are so many ways that they're funding for this competition. The proceeds go right back into habitat restoration, advocacy, water quality initiatives, all of these things. So it's nothing but good juju, so to speak, being involved with the Star competition, because people love it. What better way to spend a Saturday than out on the water with your kids, with your friends? And it's a friendly competition. It's not the biggest fish that wins, because in almost every division, we do a random drawing. And every year we have over 100 winners. In every division, we almost pay out 6 places. So we do 6 drawings in the inshore and offshore species. And you win things from bull bait tackle and lunacy cushion. I mean, there's just so many cool things. We have an electric bike. We have paddle boards. We have other boats. We have Yamaha motors. I mean, there's just so many wonderful things that can be won for doing the right thing, which is practicing conservation. CPR, catch, photo, release. And it's not, CPR means resuscitation. A CPR tournament is resuscitating our marine fisheries.
I really like that. That's one of the reasons, well, really the reason that PartsVu got involved with the CCA Florida is, we believe strongly in conservation and environmental protection, but our business is, we just believe that as people, as individuals, but also, our business, we're selling products to boaters so that they can boat. If many of those boaters are anglers, and it's just good business for us to keep the hobby healthy, and to keep the hobby healthy, the environment has to be healthy.
That's exactly right. And I do believe people see that we're going into our 8th year of competition. Mm-hmm. We've honored all of the things that we've said we would do. We've done the right thing for the environment. We're creating ways. We have a lionfish division. So we're removing invasive species from the waterway. We're removing trash. We're putting fish back into the water, and we're rewarding people for doing it. So it's a win-win all the way around for everybody.
I was looking at your site the other day, and I loved the lionfish notation. Like all the other species, there's basically some kind of parameters, this, needs to be the size or whatever. Lionfish, it's just like, take them all.
Take them all.
any qualify.
You have to harvest them. Those have to be removed from the water. They are a beautiful fish. They're absolutely gorgeous. And I can see why someone would introduce them or want them in a tank, but holy moly, when they're on a reef or in a fishery or in an estuary, they consume everything. So we're on the warpath for them.
Oh, good. Well, they are cool looking, but I understand for sure.
And there's one thing. We have so many ways for people to win. I'm going to tell you, Tonya, we have another way for participants to win, and that is if anglers will register early for the STAR competition and they are a CCA member, they will do it before April the 15th. We will give them an entry in our Hughes raffle drawing, and we will be drawing that prize on July the 21st. So just for entering the competition, they get a shot at winning a brand new Hughes with a Yamaha motor sitting on a trailer. Just for entering the competition. They don't even have to catch a fish.
That is not a bad thing.
Not a bad thing at all. So lots of ways. They get the free entry. Those entries are normally $25, but they can go to our site, ccaflstar.com, get registered right there. And it's exciting. Getting close.
Yeah, getting serious. Definitely. They'll be here before we know it. I believe there's STAR tournaments in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and South Carolina, in addition, of course, to the Florida competition. Do you have any insights into the impact of these tournaments and how popular they've been?
Oh, my goodness. Well, the Texas tournament is extremely popular. They have over 50,000 participants that participate in their competition. And it has been an amazing awareness tool for Texas. However, Texas has also been slowly migrating over to that more of a conservation message where they are now not requiring you to harvest your trout. There's lots of ways now that Texas is moving into that realm of using an app or having a picture taken and sending it in via email, text, or through an app program. So, they have been tremendous tools for creating awareness for our organization. And I see more and more of our tournaments moving towards the app or technology in order to practice the conservation message. So it's been really enlightening and fun to see, we started it 7 years ago, and now we see the other tournaments moving in our direction as well.
Well, that is definitely good to hear. This was such a fun conversation, Leiza, and just thanks so much for being with me here today.
Well, thank you. I truly enjoy it. We so appreciate PartsVu for being such a great partner for CCA Florida, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the great works that your organization does with CCA. And have your listeners and everyone stay tuned. Go to our website and see all the great initiatives. And one of the things I encourage everyone who's listening, if you don't participate in the STAR competition, at least become a member of CCA. It's very inexpensive. It's only $35. But the volunteer opportunities to go and instead of watching someone else plant seagrasses or put oysters out or, deploy a reef, the programs that are available for you to volunteer and do something good for the environment, it's good for the soul. It's like chicken noodle soup. You can go out and do something really cool. Instead of just talking about it, do something about it.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the PartsVu Xchange Talks Boating Podcast. Are you in a dock war with your boating neighbor for the cleanest boat? Check out our marine soaps, polishes, waxes, and more at PartsVu.com. And for free shipping, use the coupon code PVTalksShine, a special perk for our podcast listeners. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for boating knowledge, to keep in touch with the PartsVu community, and for special sales and promotions. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast, and check out the show notes for the coupon code just mentioned, more information about PartsVu and the products we offer, as well as our boating blog, the PartsVu Xchange. And a big thanks to Mind for performing the original music featured within this podcast.